It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, "Excuse me."
Yes, sir?
"It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials."
Well, now, isn't that marvellous? Here's a house bedevilled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer. And when you finish that, will you take a look at the pumps?
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring. It was an electric glass washer. It looked even older than the barman. I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug. I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring. "Excuse me."
Yes, sir?
"Look, I gotta be going." It was an electric glass washer. It looked even older. It was an electrical plug attached to the glass washer. I used all my... Almost as if he'd sensed my intentions, the old derelict snatched the wire from the table.
Will you leave it alone, man?
"Look, I know how it seems, but my curiosity got the better of me." "Hello again."
What?
"Ah, so you're making
That's right.
Damn right.
Only if I get
I'm talking about the rabbits. Do they...
you.
I'll see you." As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire. I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. "Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem."
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half-pint to that man on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen. I pulled the lever and the bolt creaked back into place. It was the lever which locked the trap door. I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen. I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
Hey, McGuire.
What?
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
It was impossible to return the switch to its original position. Now I could see. I spotted Mr. Leary's flashlight easily. Then I noticed a flash of light, something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagrim's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire, I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari. The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water. It was a large blue gemstone. I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping. I pushed my fingers into the narrow crack. It went back several inches into the rock. I inserted the end of the lifting key in the mortarless crack and gave it a firm shove. It remained lodged in the wall, jutting out to form a step. It was a rusted piece of iron, maybe part of a plow or something. The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare. As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints. The sack contained a fine white powder. The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand. As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand. I placed my fingers in the 5 impressions left by the fallen stone. It was weird. They fit perfectly. The 5 fingers on the back of the statue had left their impressions in the fine sand. It was a statue which had fallen from its place on the wall. 5 fingers of stone projected from the back of the carving. It was a statue which had fallen from its place on the wall. 5 fingers of stone projected from the back of the carving. The 5 fingers on the back of the statue had left their impressions in the fine sand. It was a statue which had fallen from its place on the wall. 5 fingers of stone projected from the back of the carving. It was a statue. 5 fingers of stone. I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened. I reached into the sack, but it was empty. The sack contained... I reached... I tried in vain to move the panel. Behind the altar was a carved panel, decorated with animals, birds, and plants. The sack contained... It was a handful of plaster left. I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled. I smoothed the plaster level with the sand. It was my first experience of home improvement. I smoothed I squeezed the towel as hard as I could, but it was barely damp. The faucet I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water. I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping. The trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster. I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue. The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
My first Teddy. Never had a boyfriend as loyal as him.